Now it's recording. Hello everyone, welcome to the stream. We'll get started soon. But basically today is gonna be quite chill. It's gonna be the same as usual. We will go through some matches from some bots. And a special thing for this stream, we're also gonna introduce a couple things from next season that we're considering of doing. That might be exciting. So stay tuned for that. Okay. Anyway, for time being, we can play this match. Team Tobergrade actually sent me this one. Apparently this is one of their new bots that hasn't reached the top rating yet, but apparently it hasn't lost either. So this might be interesting to watch, but we'll leave this in the background as people join in. So yeah, if you don't know, team on the left, Tobergrade, they've been top of the leaderboard for like forever. RLs, all you need is supposedly an RL team. So it's interesting to see how their two strategies clash and work. At the moment, they're quite mirroring each other. We have they're both kind of targeting the same clusters at the same time. So I guess both teams are fairly optimal to some sense.
Yeah. I think this game will be won or lost by who gets that wood patch. Which they're both headed towards.
Yeah, they're both getting there.
Either one can lock that down.
Yep, and they built a city already. Although it's probably gonna die soon. Yeah, that's gonna disappear soon, right away.
Oh, blue lost their worker there. That was really unfortunate. How'd that happen?
Let's see. So they both research coal, but there's actually not a lot of coal on this map, so they actually did beeline for uranium first. Yeah. So they're mining around here, mining there. Yeah, pretty standard. Seems like orange team is definitely taking control of the top one. They have a lot more units. Interestingly, they space out their units quite well. Their units seem to always be like one tile away from each other. I don't know if that's purposeful or if that's meant to block units, but I recall saying that someone said when Team's Tobergrade does some unit blocking to kind of block. You can see like Team Blue here can't actually get into the forest because they're blocked by these two units here. Who instead of building a city to block the blue unit, they're just putting units here to block them. So it's interesting to see unit blocking actually working quite effectively here. And Tobergrade is also doing some good conservation. They've already mined 100% of the wood, but it's really still a lot of wood left still. And even though they lost all their cities, they're actually more than ready to like respawn the cities and keep control of the clusters. So I think it's quite interesting to see that some of these top bots are working really well to actually control the clusters and not just mining them as fast as possible, but actually just preventing the opponent from touching them and just slowly mining it out. So we can see that Tobergrade here is actually keeping all this wood at maximum 500 still, without overspending it. And Team Blue actually can't even get anywhere near it. Anything else interesting? It's interesting to see that blue actually seems to control the uranium in the middle, but despite that, they had no control of the uranium on the sides, which might be unfortunate. But yeah, as we progress towards the end of the game, it's looking clearly that orange team is the winner. They can't seem to lose. I'm just gonna fast forward this. Yeah, that's basically about it. So that's one game. Any thoughts, Bovard? Before I go to the next one?
Yeah, I think that like if you do the almost a checkerboard pattern, but not quite, right? One every other square and every other row, just like Toberger was doing last time. And then if anyone comes towards your group of units, you think they're going to try and move into. It seems like that's going to work pretty well for unit blocking, especially if you get posted up in a forest or something.
Yep. So looking at this game again, we see Love Deluxe, which I don't know what strategy they use, but they're the one who probably made the most popular imitation learning bot. So this might be imitation learning, although I suspect they probably moved away from it. Blue team, again, letting the cities die, but still taking quite good control. You can see how they kind of cornered orange team to the bottom left corner, and they're having their buildings face out towards the rest of the world, which might be on purpose, I'm not sure. But that is kind of like a game of Go, or trying to control the space and also make sure that you're pushing your opponent towards one corner.
Yeah, it seems to work out for them so far. They took they're the two wood clusters. They took their opponent's wood cluster first, which kind of put orange on the defensive. But orange does have one unit contesting the cluster down on blue side of the board. So that's pretty interesting.
Yeah. Oh, I just saw a cart. Wait. I just missed a cart.
Pause for cart.
Why do they use a cart? I didn't know this team used carts. Okay, if you don't know, Toe Brigade, the team on the right, they're currently number 1 on the leaderboard. They actually sent me this particular submission to go watch. So I guess maybe they sent it because they have carts now. They have a cart and a unit here.
There it is.
But I don't know what they're using.
Zoom in. Enhance. You gotta see what that cart's doing.
Yes. So we can play things slower, but so this cart is doing what? I can't even tell. They're moving. Oh, they transfer the wood every once in a while. So this cart took 100 wood from a unit, gave 100 wood away. Oh, okay, I remember I seen this somewhere. So someone told me that apparently they like playing hot potato. So you see 100 wood is in here. The worker gives 100 wood away to this cart, and then the cart gives it back to the worker.
The cart says, no, you have the wood.
Yeah. I mean, I think at the end of the day, I guess one thing it did was that the worker got to mine more. I guess they put the 100 wood in here so the worker can keep mining, which is good. And also like kind of like instant resource deposit. The cart just now deposited 120 wood to the worker here, I think. And I guess it built some roads on the side, but I don't think they do anything else with that. Because this 4 roads aren't really going to do anything, I think. So I'm not sure.
You're making carts look bad. Yeah, so I guess it allows the unit that's mining from that tree to not even mine faster. You need like at least 3 adjacent trees to mine faster.
Yeah. Well, you can also mine faster by just transporting the resources out of the worker and then letting the worker just not move the whole time. That's also quite efficient.
Oh, right. So it's mining.
And that's what they did a little bit earlier.
Yeah. And looks like, are they keeping a lot of the cities past, this is what, the 3rd night? Or no, 4th night. So that's interesting. I've seen a lot of kind of bouncing at night, and then some bots will keep their cities and try not to lose them, and some will do heavy swings.
Hmm.
I imagine a full cart of wood really helps you do a nice large swing on the last night.
Yeah.
But I think with the way that people are conserving wood these days, I'm seeing a lot of forests alive, as we get to the last night, which would really benefit your bot. I think both of them here are doing a pretty good job of keeping alive. And you can see that forest on the south, Toad Brigade is totally just blocking out those orange workers that are trying to get in.
Yep.
They can't go anywhere.
Yeah. It's interesting to see that Toad Brigade doesn't ever really fully enclose forests. They always like enclose maybe one side of it and then leave the rest of it enclosed by workers in this like grid pattern, which I guess is quite efficient because this prevents anyone from entering. So yeah, interesting. Do we want to talk about next season potentially?
Well, let's talk about the results of the survey first.
Oh yeah. For people who are curious, this is the results of a survey. I don't really know. It was an interesting question, I guess. People had a lot.
I think they're very positive. So thank you all. I'm glad
Yes.
you're enjoying this competition.
This is very positive feedback. Lots of people are really willing to come back and participate. No one has ever said no, really. It's interesting to see that a mix of people use all kinds of viewers, from the local viewer or the Luxay website or Kaggle website. There are problems with other things though. So I think one of the major problems that people had some concerns about was basically information panels. I think this is something we're working on for next season. We definitely realized that we can't guess what information you need, so we need to make it easier for you to add your own kind of panels to do that. So we're working towards a project that lets you kind of edit the visualizer by dragging or creating panels to add in more tables of information. So that's something we're considering. And yeah, some of our visualizer things are a little bit unintuitive, and we're working towards that for design next season. And yeah, I'm actually surprised that more people didn't find this more difficult to understand the rules, because I also personally thought the rules are quite difficult. Yeah, a game called Screeps, if you ever heard it, they have custom panels. So we might considering that. But yeah, it looks like the rules are actually not that bad. So I'm guessing our current rule length is actually not bad. We might stick with that actually. But again, you have the range of people. Like some people don't understand it at all, but some people found it really easy. And some random
we don't have to
other.
go through all the responses here, but there's a couple of takeaways that we're doing. One is we'll make sure with the engine is in Python next year. That definitely fits, better within Kaggle. And we'll do some improvements to the viewer. And yeah, we're well on our way to creating a second season. So we'll tease a little bit of what might be that season at the end here, but let's go look at the two candidates for this month's sprint winners to bring up the leaderboard.
So we have RL is all you need. TBD already won it, and then Team Perspective I think hasn't won it either.
Nice, and we still have a couple days. Let's check out their bots.
Yep. Let's look at Perspective. We have already seen RL is all you need. Team Dura is a new team I've not seen. So let's look at this competitive one. Team Durit expanding rapidly towards the south. It looks like Team Durit is actually sending all the units to the south and not minding the big clusters. So interesting. And we see Team Durit actually just gets it much faster. Team Perspective is a little bit too conservative here. But if we go fast forward, yeah, it's kind of just one-sided, really one-sided.
Yeah, so that paid off. Go back to those early turns there. So basically, they said, you can have this early cluster. We're going all in on the expansion cluster.
Yep. They just said maybe this cluster over here is much better, and this cluster originally, even though it has 800 starting wood each, is not as good. Oh, someone's asking to zoom in a bit. Yes, I will zoom in for y'all. Hopefully it's not too laggy, because I know it's a little bit hard to stream this. Yeah. So this is an interesting kind of balancing problem here. Like, do you ditch your home or do you go to a different place? And I think if you compete in Halite 4, this is actually a common thing too. Some Halite 4 bots actually didn't spawn like a base right where they got spawned. They actually moved around before spawning. But yeah, that tactic paid off. And we will see this going up like that. Interestingly, at the end, they only differ by 4 city tiles. And if you look at how much fuel is left in the city, if they left some of the fuel out to make cities instead, Team Blue would have won, actually. So if you think about it, even though Team Blue was quite suboptimal early on, they could have won it later if they just organized their fuel spending a little bit better. Let's look at how they spent their fuel. Yeah, if they just built like maybe a couple more city tiles, they would have won maybe.
Well, then they'd have to, at the very end, get it because they got some of the uranium. I'm guessing that's where some of that came from.
Anyway, interesting. Let's look at maybe some other matches. Tiga. Tiga's bot has been around here for a while. These are both very mature bots. Let's look at what's happening here.
Enhance.
Interestingly, Tiga took a lot of extra turns before building the first city. I wonder if that's going to be a downfall. But actually, because they delayed the time to build city, their first worker got to the middle much faster. So that's actually an interesting balance here. Do you build an early city, which will cost the extra turn, or do you spend that extra turn going closer to the middle cluster? Of which I think Tiga made the right choice here. They just got just that little bit edge here, cutting into the middle and stealing all the wood early on. But unfortunately, Tiga lost all the cities. But they got to the top first, which could be very good. Once they build a city, they can start building a lot more units, and that top might be as good as theirs. Yeah, interesting to see. I think Tiga does a good job of keeping their units spaced out. I don't know if they're intentionally doing that, but that seems to be a common theme I've seen with the top bots, is that units are usually spaced out either diagonally or horizontally somehow, and I guess maybe that allows them to block units more. I'm not sure if Tiga does that.
Perspective, it's just going.
Oh wait, they just took over.
Full on horde.
So I wasn't out paying attention.
They mine everything out, but then I guess they kind of fly host. They burn a lot too, and so if
sabotage.
You can see that Tiga has this wood down there at the bottom. Forest is still alive.
Yep.
If they keep that alive the whole time, I think that's gonna help them significantly.
Oh, someone was asking in our Discord, how do you check command history on your UI? Just pause the game, click this little icon, and you see every single command in every turn. I think Lisk, I don't know how to pronounce her name, was asking for that. So if you want to know how to do it, go to your replay, click a unit, click the little I, and boom, you see all your commands. So yeah, keep going. Yeah, so this is basically done, unless somehow Orange loses all their cities. Nope, blue team just loses.
Yeah, losing that forest. If they could have held on to that forest, I think they would have won. Pretty interesting.
Let's see another one. Let's see where Tiga wins, maybe. Team Orange, it's a big map, so this could be interesting. Let's zoom in.
So perspective is blue here.
Yeah, perspective blue in this one.
And I suspect that they're just gonna tear down that forest as fast as possible if they do anything like the lost strategy.
But I think it'd be easier to protect it, right? If this was Team Toad Brigade, they seem to always protect the force, at least for a good amount of time before demolishing it. And it seems like it would be easier because it looks like you only really cover a couple units before they hit the wall and they can't go around it anymore. So it looks like Tiga might have done that actually. If you look a couple of tiles back, suddenly his unit goes north. Or sorry, blue team perspective units go north. I don't know if that's blocking orange units somehow, but it could be interesting. So yeah, actually no, this is a very smart tactic. So blue team, so orange team here, their unit here would have survived the night if they moved this orange unit south. But because blue unit moved up 4 or something, I think they couldn't move south for whatever reason. That's by having zero cooldown. And as a result, they actually that unit just gets lost in the dark. So interesting way to block units, blocking them from fuel resources.
Yeah, you have to block them for at least one night, right? Though, or
Yeah,
if they didn't head over with enough materials.
Yeah. So right now they're still kind of neck and neck. The growth rate is almost the same. You can interesting to see how when the night happens and goes back up. Yeah, we're seeing a lot of units in the middle. And we see the blue team actually infiltrated. Although I really think blue team can do a lot better at infiltrating if they had just one cart. You know, you can just keep mining and dump it and just waste all their wood there. But I don't know if anyone's ever done that. I forgot what was the counter argument to that strategy, but someone mentioned that wasn't necessarily useful, but who knows.
Yeah, you can break the unit and the cart apart pretty easily if they try and advance.
Right, but I even, to try to advance together, I guess you can move them apart. But even like just 2 tiles, like just this one unit here, they can mine out these 3 wood tiles completely, right? Just by having 1 extra cart, or 2 extra carts or something. And even here, like I don't know why they're not bringing the wood back here. I mean, I guess you have to code that in, obviously, but that would be a good tactic if you want to waste your wood, because right now the orange team is taking the wood. And I would argue it's always better to dump the wood as fuel and not use this for building material as opposed to letting the other team use it. So hard to say. But yeah. Okay, we also only have about like maybe 10 more minutes in the stream, so I think we should also potentially talk about next season. Ideas.
Sure, sounds good.
Yeah. So we can't necessarily. So I'm just gonna leave this play in the background, but we're gonna make a few short announcements to see if we can get any feedback just from the stream. We're not gonna announce actual game mechanics. So like, is it gonna be a grid? Is it gonna have units? Or is it gonna be 1 unit? Or is it gonna be resources or whatever? We're not gonna announce that. What is gonna happen next season? We're gonna consider introducing factions. So what do we mean by factions? So factions is basically each team right now is blue and orange, right? And you have no association with either team. Well, starting next season, we are actually considering making it such that at the first turn you can declare what faction or team you're on, and then on the leaderboard we're also going to display basically each faction's wide scores. As for how the scores are going to be calculated, we're not sure yet, but it's going to be calculated based on how well your faction is doing compared to other teams. Like how well is your faction doing at maybe collecting faction, not fraction, faction or team, right? Is collecting resources or who wins the most, right? So this could be added a fun little bit of meta to play to the games, where you can team up with friends. Even though you have separate submissions, you can team up together in the same faction and work with your faction team members to submit better bots, maybe. So yeah, that's the faction idea. Anyone have any thoughts about that? Or I feel like I probably missed out a lot of features. There's probably other features in there as well. In addition to factions, you can also have like faction related like gear. So right now we don't have that, but for example, you can pretend that if you're in the orange faction, you have these little workers with orange hats, and then if you're in the blue faction, maybe you're engineers and you have little computers in your hands or something. So we're actually adding a lot of like kind of playful ways to interact with the game, or have you guys indirectly interact with the aesthetics. This is similar to a competition called Battlesnake. I don't know if you guys have seen that, but in Battlesnake they actually let you customize your snake. It's actually just a snake game. You program an AI to play a snake. You can customize your snake. So we're also considering ways you can customize your unit on the visualizer, just to add a bit of flair for fun. That amongst many other features are what we're considering for next season. Bobbar, do you want to announce anything else?
No, I think just what we're planning to do is to scrape replay files.
Yep.
And along with factions, we could then support things like getting badges or achievements for certain things, like winning with 1 unit left, or surviving past a certain period, things like that. Should be pretty. I think that'll add another interesting engagement.
Other things that we're going to do, so this is based on feedback and also just a general our own kind of reflection on this season. You can be sure for next season everything's going to be Python based, so we're going to get rid of the JavaScript engine. That was the only part of JavaScript is going to be left just so we can have process communication between different languages. But that's the only part where JavaScript might be facilitating something. We have our engine for that works pretty well. However, our engine is not very great when actually running an AI environment. Like, it's kind of slow. It's not really necessarily like vectorized. It's not really necessarily fast, as you can see. So we're probably going to use a library called Petting Zoo. If any of you guys study RL, you might have seen this in a lot of multi-agent literature. So Petting Zoo is an example of a library that would basically would serve something like this. We're planning on running buildings the next season off of that and publishing that. Yeah, probably Petting Zoo, which is basically inheriting OpenAI Gym. It's basically Gym, but it has nice features for multi-agent learning, training, and inference and evaluation. So we're gonna have that. So you can look forward to an actual proper Python environment, and because I think no one does machine learning in any other language besides Python, except for that one crazy team that rewrote our entire engine in C++ to do brute force search. This will be a great, I think, addition for everyone who's trying to do RL or something. So yeah, so we're switching to Python. So Python developers, you can use that, and it will also be I think probably better than Kaggle environments. I think a lot of people have issues with Kaggle environments. There's like a memory leak on there or something. It's a little bit difficult to use. It's not exactly that OpenAI Gym kind of friendly. So providing a Petting Zoo environment that actually is OpenAI Gym compliant should give you guys a much better way to do things. I think another thing you guys can also expect is that we're going to have a visualizer that actually works normally. So right now this visualizer works on a workflow that you run a game, watch it, run again, watch it. However, we recognize there's other kind of workflows, especially reinforcement learning and imitation learning, where you want to run 2 steps, watch the 2 steps, or one state, visualize the state, run a state, visualize the state. So we are working towards developing a visualizer that does that, and actually we're working towards a project called Illuminator at the moment. It's a current name. That's going to basically take in any Python environment, let you track statistics on it, run matches on it, do a step-by-step run, things like that. Put that all into like a kind of an interface to look things into. Someone asked in this chat, did anyone know what team did a C++ port? Did they open source it? I don't think they open sourced it. I remember it was this team. I don't think they're competing anymore because they haven't submitted in a while. But this team called Nikolai D. If you check our Discord, you can search for it, but they've been basically always talking about how their bot is basically just a C++ replica of our engine, and they just do a giant search. Here we go. They're now 192, but towards the end of sprint 1, they were actually top 5. Their agent was quite powerful. Yeah, but I don't think they ever open sourced it. I mean, you can try asking them in Discord if they want to open source it, but I'm not sure. And I think their current C++ implementation is now outdated because we did a patch. So, not sure. Oh, someone's saying in Discord that we spoil next season by saying it's multi-agent. I'm going to say that's always multi-agent because you have 2 teams competing against each other. Whether or not you control many units or 1 unit, I will not disclose at the moment. But you can always expect it to be some adversarial scenario related to it. So, yeah. Some sneak peeks for next season. Hope y'all will be excited by some of the new additions and come back for next season, whether or not we're in Kaggle or not. Something else to look forward to, we're going to have a nice surprise on Halloween. So when you're developing your bot on Halloween for whatever reason, you might notice a change in the visualizer. When is next season? Next season, we don't know. Probably around the same time as this season. So you can expect it to start around August, about. We don't have confirmed details. We also have not confirmed details whether or not we're still on Kaggle. We might be. But yeah, just look out for news. Follow our Twitter. Go on Discord. Check it out. We'll make an announcement when we know it. Anything else, Bofard?
I think that's it. Thanks for tuning in, everybody, and thanks for playing. We've got just over a month left, so we're on the home stretch. And good luck to the sprint.
Yep.
The sprint competitors this time.
Yep. Good luck, everyone. All right, I'm gonna end stream now.